Okay, so in the last video we created a quiz. It might have seemed strange that you didn't put any questions in it. Essentially, when you add an activity and then create a quiz, the first step that it has is just create the quiz box of sorts, the quiz without any questions. And so that's what we've done, and then if you want to go back into it, you can always click on Settings, which is this update icon, the thing that looks like a little gear, and you can go in and get all of these. So just to remind you, we set a 10-minute time limit. Okay. We allowed 2 times, and we're going to average the grade. I'm shuffling the questions randomly. I want immediate feedback, which means after each quiz question, they're going to get some feedback. And I'm saying that they should shuffle the answers within the questions. Okay, so let's go back to that quiz now, and how do you add the questions? Well, the first time you click on the quiz itself, like you were trying to open it, if you're a teacher, it'll take you into this, and it'll say, do you want to edit the quiz? But no questions have been added yet. I can also always go into here. I can edit the settings, that's what I just was looking at, or I can edit the quiz, which is right here. This preview we'll come to later. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and edit the quiz. There's 2 ways to add a question. One is from the question bank. I'm not going to go into that right now because it's kind of a more advanced way of using quizzes. Essentially, every question you make is saved and can be pulled into other tests and quizzes you're giving. You can also create questions independently of a quiz right in the bank. But we don't want to do that now. That's a little bit too complicated. Okay, so here we're just going to add a question. Now, there's a bunch of different types of questions that you can add. The 4 major ones that you're going to use are essay. That allows them to type kind of a free response question. Matching, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Multiple choice is also pretty self-explanatory. Short answer, and true and false. Okay. The short answer is different than the essay in that it's allowing Moodle to grade it based on what you say that is the correct answer, whereas essay is just sort of blank. Okay, let's start with the easiest one. Let's start with the multiple choice. Okay, so if I had a multiple choice question, it's going to say question name. Now this is just for the bank. This doesn't show up anywhere. So I like to just put a number there. I'll talk more about that later. You have to put something in here. But if you're not using the question bank, don't worry too much. Okay, so I might say, which of the following words in caps is an adverb? Okay, so that's my question. And then I'm going to say the quick brown, I'll put brown in capitals, fox jumped in capitals, and then say quickly over the fence. Okay, so that's my question. And I'm going to have it, how many points is it worth? So it should be worth 1. 1 or multiple answers, meaning basically how many things can they check? So if you put multiple answers, then they could check multiple, A and C, for instance. Okay, and that might be a more tricky question if I had 2 of these be adverbs. Choice 1. Okay, I'm going to say the, no grade for that, meaning I don't want anything, no points for it. Feedback means when they get this wrong, if they select it, what do you want to tell them? And I might say, this is an article, not an adverb. Or maybe in general, I want to offer them a definition of what an adverb is. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my choices. Brown. Now I realize that with this I could have just, and that's not right, and then quickly, that is correct. So on the one that's correct, you want to assign 100% of the points. You can technically give partial credit for something that isn't correct, but is close to correct. So let's say that there was an answer that was an adjective, and I decided I'm going to give that, so brown isn't correct, but I want to give them 20% of the points for it, because it's better than at least the. Okay, so most of us would say it's an all or nothing thing. You either are going to have 100% or you're going to have none, but it's actually doesn't have to be that way. Okay, so the combined feedback means that maybe I just want to say for any incorrect answer. So here I'm specifically showing correct and incorrect answers. I could just say, remember, an adverb modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Okay, so basically the difference between here is that I'm saying I'm not going to put something specific here, but I'm just going to say in general, if it's incorrect, to give them the feedback that they want. Okay, and because I'm not allowing for multiple tries, we don't have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to save changes. So that's basically how you construct a multiple choice, short answers, and again, this is how many points it's worth. Let me do two more. You can add an essay question. An essay question isn't going to be able to be graded by Moodle. So again, that's just what's going to show up in the question bank. Here I might say, what were the main causes of World War I? Let's say I want to say what are the three main causes. Okay, so again, what is it worth? Even though Moodle's not going to grade it, later I am, and I can assign it points. So maybe I want to make this a 5-point assignment. Okay, so that's going to be what it's worth. Okay, the general feedback we can skip. Response template is kind of nice because what I can do, instead of just giving them a blank text box, I could give them something that says reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Okay, so essentially it gives them sort of a little template to fill out. Okay, and then what's also interesting is that I can allow attachments. So maybe I want to say find a picture or upload your document or whatever. So allowing attachments will give them a text box that they can upload. You don't have to worry about this, and save changes. Okay, so that's basically how you write an essay question, which is anything that's open-ended. Notice I made it out of 5 points. You can add another question. Let's do multiple choice. Or I'm sorry, let's do matching. Okay, so for matching, what you do is, again, you need a name, but that's only for the question bank. And the question text here is more like the instructions. Match the teacher with the subject that he or she teaches. Okay. And so what I'm asking for here is question and answer. And I could say something like, Mr. Kavanaugh, and the answer is English. Mr. Moyler, and the answer is history. Miss Harkey, and the answer is math. You can keep going, right? So basically, the more blanks you have, the more you can fill out. You don't have to fill all the blanks. It says you need at least 2 questions. So I'll do Father Carr and theology. Okay, so then again, I can give some feedback. So I can say, I don't know, if it's incorrect, explain where the answer is, but I'm going to keep all that. So save changes, and that is a matching. There's one more that we might want to go over. Short answer is a little bit tricky. What short answer does is it looks a lot like free response or multiple choice, but they don't see the choices. Okay, so by the way, I put 1-4 or 1.4. It's just going to put the questions in order in my question bank. Really, you could put whatever you want there until you later start to use the question bank. So anyways, I might say something like, who was the leader of Russia during World War II? Okay. And in general, I can say if case is important, that means do they have to capitalize or not. But the first answer, if I put Stalin, okay, I'm going to give that 100%. Okay. Anything else isn't going to get any credit. Okay, and I don't have to fill in any of these. I do have to fill these if I want to give partial credit. So maybe if they put like Lenin or something, I want it to be 30%. Okay. You can also, because it has to be exact for them to get the points, you should probably do wild card, which means if I do star, which is shift 8, and then Stalin, it's going to accept anything Stalin. So Joseph Stalin would be correct. Nothing Stalin would be correct. J Stalin would be correct. Okay, so I don't really want anything after Stalin to be counted, but I want stuff before Stalin to be 100%. Okay, so you could do this if you wanted to say my other question, and you wanted to say which of the following words is an adverb, and you just wanted to like write the sentence. In that case, there's only one answer they're going to write, and that's the word. So I could turn that into, instead of multiple choice, I could just say identify the word and put it as the 100%. Okay, so those are the different types of questions. And in a cool way, you can mix all of those types. You could have everything be matching, you could have everything be multiple choice, or you could have these mixes of questions. Okay, so now my quiz is done, and I could preview it if I wanted by going over here and clicking the preview button. Okay, so this is kind of going to show what the students are going to see. What are the 3 main causes of World War I? This shows up because I allowed them to upload an attachment, and this reason 1, reason 2, reason 3 shows up because I put it as a template. So I'm going to put grumpy people as my reason, and then I'm going to hit next. This is pretty much, notice I've got the time ticking. This is pretty much what the students are going to see. Match the teacher with the subject. So Mr. Moyler is history, Ms. Hartke is math, Mr. Kavanaugh, I'm going to get this wrong, is theology, Father Carr is theology. Now I can check, okay, and it's going to tell me that I got this wrong. Okay, so it says it's partially correct. It's going to give me 3/4 of the question. So I get 75% of this, so I get 0.75. If I would have gotten 2 wrong, I get 0.5, right? So if you want this to be worth 4 points, then this would be 3 out of 4. I hope that makes sense. Notice I can get the feedback, but I can't retry it, and that's because of how I set it up in the quiz settings. Okay, and so what was the leader of Russia? Notice this is short answer, so I can do Joey Stalin, and that should be accepted because of how I did the wild card. And sure enough, it is. Okay, so it's in green, which means it's correct. And then the next one is the quick brown fox, and I can do quickly. Again, I can check because I am allowing the students to find out if they were right or wrong with each one. And then next. Okay, so submit all and finish. It'll say you can't open it anymore, and then I'm done. Notice 2 is yellow, which means it was partially correct. 3 and 4 are green, which means it was correct. White means it's not graded yet. And we'll talk more about the grading later. So that is the very complicated but also very powerful world of how to write quiz questions.